Tonight, watching and waiting.
Well, it's higher than it's been quite a few years.
How communities in the Interlake are responding as rising water threatens to break their banks. Also tonight,
it seems like we're going backwards.
Why health groups are raising the alarm over the high number of vacancies for rural paramedics. Plus, the summer of staycations.
The flights are just really expensive and they're cutting out a lot of the direct flights.
How some Manitobans are adjusting their travel plans in the face of spiking fuel prices.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
All eyes are on rapidly rising floodwaters tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. From the Icelandic River to the Fisher River, efforts are underway tonight to protect homes and infrastructure. Our crews were in Arborg and Riverton today to see firsthand the homes at risk there. But we begin our flood coverage tonight in Peguis, where it is a waiting game. At some point before tomorrow, the Fisher River will spill its banks. Standing by live with an update on that situation is CTV's John Hendricks. So, John, what's happened in the last 24 hours?
Marilee, the water has gotten so high, river crossings in Peguis First Nation have officially been shut down. Warm weather has significantly sped up the spring melt, and the First Nation tells us it's confident that the river will spill its banks tonight and crest tomorrow. The First Nation said on its Facebook account today that Les Daniels and Pine Cone Crossing have both been closed, as well as a nearby roadway. Water from the river has begun washing over it along the culvert. Now, crews are currently in the process of cutting open the road to allow the water to flow and to relieve pressure in the area. The First Nation said heavy equipment has been working to break up ice over the past few days, and they've asked residents to avoid active work zones. Highway 224 was also reduced to one lane earlier today as crews worked on a dike. Meantime, early evacuations have already taken place, mainly for residents with medical conditions and mobility concerns. And the community has been sandbagging since last week, and members of the Canadian Red Cross are on the ground already helping to assist.
From the Canadian Red Cross side, we're looking at supporting the community through these other means of, providing a warming center, building sandbags, providing volunteers to go out there and help with the flood mitigation barriers.
It's also not certain, but there is a good chance of rain tonight. Now, the risk there, of course, is that it'll add more water to already overflowing banks. And warmer temperatures are melting snow in the area.
Yeah, rain, the last thing they need there. Any signs, John, that this situation could take any sort of a positive turn?
Well, yes, Chief Stan Bird is hopeful that the flood might not be as bad as expected. The Fisher River flow rate is considerably lower today than what it was in the 2014 flood. Now, he says that of the two of the tributaries that are flowing into the river, well, one of them has already peaked, and he expects the other will as well sometime tonight. Now, after that, they'll have a better understanding of the flood situation. Peguis First Nation Communications Director Doug Thomas says that there's currently one house in danger of flooding, and those residents are under an evacuation protocol, but he believes that they are going to shelter in place.
All right, thanks for this, John. Other communities along the Icelandic River are also in danger tonight. Homeowners in Arborg and Riverton say they haven't seen the river there this high since 2022. As CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, officials are cautioning people to prepare ahead of time just in case.
Water from the Icelandic River in Arborg is creeping into John Dewick's yard.
Well, it's higher than it's been quite a few years, but in 2022 it was a little bit higher than it is now.
The province says with warmer temperatures and continued snowmelt, the Icelandic River and Fisher River in the Interlake region are under a flood warning. Levels have spilled over the banks in some locations.
There's still lots of inflow of water coming in from the west, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Town and municipal officials in Arborg are working to flood-proof the area as the water level has gone up in recent days. It's holding now, but the community is preparing for more just in case.
From what we see forecasted, yes, there's a good potential that more water can come. And nobody wants to let their guard down.
The concerns are if it does go up another foot or so, there will be houses that will be impacted.
so thousands of sandbags are being made available for homeowners. Officials are cautioning people, if you need them, don't wait until the last minute.
There's homes here along the river that, those waters are right up to their shed. So if it increases, that increases our numbers.
There is also overland flooding. This road is closed and ice has been broken up along the river here to prevent ice jams.
The ice has disappeared, so they cleaned that out yesterday.
And the same thing is happening in nearby Riverton. Ice was flowing and then got caught up on the bridge in that community while we were there, so a crew started breaking it up.
It has happened where it's backed up pretty quick and that.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Riverton.
It was a tense night for some folks northeast of Winnipeg as a fast-moving grass fire erupted shortly after midnight.
Pretty scary, especially when it got so close to my property, my house. Pretty scary.
That's Velma Aiken, who lives north of Tyndall and says firefighters got her out of the bed in the middle of the night to warn her about what was happening. She then rushed over to her neighbors' homes to wake them up as well.
Our neighbors over here, they came and then we decided, well, hey, it's burning. Let's go with the shovels. And they had water jugs, eh? So we started here because they were fighting over there. So we were back in here putting out the spot fires or whatever they call them.
Aiken says she and her neighbors were out past dawn trying to keep the fire from spreading, but not before it consumed about 60 acres of her pasture. They also found a tree, which they tell us appears to have been hit by lightning. Thankfully, Aiken says she didn't lose any property, no one was injured, and all of her animals are safe. On social media, the Beausejour Broken Head Fire Department says its members were at the scene all night keeping tabs on the blaze with plans to attack it again in the morning. They were gone by the time our cameras arrived. Meantime, the city of Winnipeg plans to start carrying out controlled burns across the city this week. Crews will get started in the areas listed on your screen. It includes Living Prairie Museum, Little Mountain Park, and Rotary Prairie Nature Park. This work is, of course, weather permitting and is expected to continue until about mid-June. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now, get a first look at your Skywatch forecast as temperatures heat up here. Rain is rising floodwaters. Northern Manitoba is still getting hit by a bit of a storm of its own. All kinds of stuff weather-wise going on across the province tonight.
And that's putting it mildly, and no weather pun intended there, Marilee. Temperatures very warm right now here in the southeast. A very different story in the southwest. The northern part of the province, perhaps the most complex forecast I have seen in a long time. Let me show you this just to give you some perspective. In Winnipeg right now, it's 23 degrees. There is a cold front pushing across the south. In Brandon, it's just 4. In Yorkton, right here in Saskatchewan, it's -1 and it's snowing. That's right. Now we have thunderstorms that are moving through southeastern Manitoba. Many regions in the southeast and over the border into northwestern Ontario are under a severe thunderstorm watch tonight. There is the potential for severe thunderstorms. Winnipeg is not under the watch, nor is Peguis, but that doesn't mean we can't see showers or thunderstorms develop in those areas outside of where you see that watch. And then that brings us to the system that is just walloping central and northern parts of the province. We have no less than 4 different types of precipitation in play tonight and over the next couple of days, affecting different areas at different times. And then you factor in the winds and outright blizzard conditions in some areas. It really is pretty remarkable. All the things that are happening in our forecast area, I will take you through all of it coming up. But let's take a look right now through the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, the wind's blowing around the camera a little bit. It is 19 degrees. Those winds coming out of the southwest, 54 kilometers an hour, gusting to 68. The pressure is dropping. The humidity right now, Marilee, is 50%.
Thanks, Colleen. A teenage boy is facing a slew of charges tonight after police say he brought a handgun and knives to a rural Manitoba school. RCMP rushed to Green Valley School in Grunthal yesterday morning around 9:30 after receiving reports a boy was on his way to the school with a gun. Mounties say he was confronted by school staff who convinced him to turn over the weapons. While he was being arrested, officers seized a handgun, a loaded magazine, loose ammunition, and knives. The boy remains in custody and an investigation is ongoing. A senior is dead and another is in custody tonight following an incident in South Winnipeg Tuesday. Police were called to an apartment complex in the 1200 block of St. Anne's Road just before 11:30 at night. Officers say they found an 80-year-old woman with fatal injuries, and a 74-year-old man was arrested at the scene. He's charged with second-degree murder and remains in custody. Investigators tell us the pair knew each other, but have not yet responded to our questions about the nature of their relationship. A healthcare worker advocacy group is raising the alarm tonight over the growing rate of vacancies in rural paramedics.
These are not just numbers. This is a growing crisis that could affect anyone living in Manitoba or traveling in Manitoba.
That's Jason Linklater, president of the Manitoba Association of Healthcare Providers. His comments come as new data acquired through Freedom of Information requests and shared with CTV News shows 1 in every 4 paramedic positions in the province were vacant at the end of 2025. That's up from just shy of 15% just 2 years earlier. There were some modest improvements between 2024 and 2025. However, the association says the province is simply not keeping up with attrition.
With more than 1 in 4 paramedic positions vacant and response times sometimes exceeding 1 hour, it seems like we're going backwards. This crisis was not inevitable, it didn't have to happen, and it can be fixed with dedicated attention and resources.
Among the solutions being put forward is a call for more direct entry education seats, a subsidized pathway for emergency medical responders to become paramedics, and incentives for hard-to-fill positions. Health Minister Yusoma Asagara suggested some of the numbers being referenced may be out of date, saying there has been a net gain of 41 paramedics. Asagara also said the province is working with post-secondary institutions to create a pathway for emergency medical responders to become paramedics.
An EMR to PCP, which is a primary care paramedic, to ACP, which is an advanced care paramedic. That's what we're talking about. EMRs are the first step. We're going to get folks to being PCPs, and then hopefully they can become ACPs in time.
Asagara added the province still has a goal of hiring 200 more paramedics. Some Manitobans are rethinking their upcoming travel plans in an effort to avoid sky-high flights due to rising jet fuel prices. As CTV's Joseph Bernacki found out, it has many adjusting their plans on the fly.
When she's not flipping burgers at North Star Drive-In, Marina DeRook travels to see her favorite bands.
We're heading to Toronto for a concert in June, and then I was hoping to return to Vegas for my birthday in September.
But what was once pretty straightforward is now tricky as the cost of air travel soars due to the war in Iran. And some airlines have dropped flights completely.
The flights are just really expensive, and they're cutting out a lot of the direct flights, so it limits us kind of down to 1 day a week, so it's just hard with scheduling and all that.
At Travel Manitoba, Cody Chomiak, Vice President of Marketing, says road trips are the new trend this year, with many more Manitobans hitting the road.
People wanting to take to the road, whether that's in their car or an RV. We see huge interest from the Quebec market as an example, who love to RV across Canada, and really check out those places in Manitoba.
On a sunny Thursday at the Forks, crowds enjoyed some time outdoors, and some are considering all options to travel west later this year.
We are going into British Columbia to do the Great Divide Trail. We're flying there to Calgary and then going out to Waterton Lake. 7 weeks. We're doing 850 kilometers of walking.
Clayton Case and his wife Lisa are driving to a family wedding in Edmonton because flight costs are so uncertain.
If we fly, which, and actually we've done the math, the amount of gas it costs us is about equal to a flight. It just takes you one more day. It's going to be hard, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm just glad we don't travel a lot by air. We go away once a year. Yeah. So we kind of save up for that. We've got the WestJet card, but other than that, most of our travel is by car.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The city of Winnipeg is once again taking Tartan Towing to court, this time over breaching its 2019 contract. A lawsuit filed by the city on April 16th alleges Tartan failed to pay the appropriate cost recovery fee for tows ordered by the Winnipeg Police Service. The discrepancy was found through a police review of its traffic hold records to reports submitted by Tartan with omitted payments dating as far back as 2014. Last February, the city sent a demand to Tartan to pay just under $302,000 for 5,800 tows and accrued interest. The file says Tartan denied owing any money. In 2024, the city filed a statement of claim against Tartan alleging the company overbilled more than $1 million for tows it didn't do. The province is changing the way it collects outstanding fines, and it could mean you'll have to pay up before you can renew your license or take out a permit.
You've got to renew your license, you want to go buy a park pass. Well, if you have an outstanding fine, let's clear that up first, and then you can go ahead and you can purchase those items.
Justice Minister Matt Wiebe says the province is setting up a 10-person team to collect unpaid fines instead of outsourcing to a collection agency as it currently does. Wiebe says this will save the province around $3 million a year by eliminating an 18% commission on payments received. It also means the province will be able to prioritize the fines it collects first instead of focusing on what may be the easiest. Still to come tonight, Canadian and U.S. officials agree the trade dispute is causing big problems on both sides of the border.
You know, it's an irritant. 50% tariff on steel, 50% tariff on aluminum.
But how to resolve the issue seems to be an open question. Reaction from both sides of the border when we return. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added $2.89. The loonie dropped to 73.06 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $29. The TSX fell 42 points. The Dow Jones was down 179 points, while the Nasdaq finished 219 points lower. Two cryptocurrency companies have told the Manitoba government they could be forced out of business by new proposed laws. The government has introduced a bill which would charge cryptocurrency operations and data centers up to 100% higher rates for electricity. Another bill would allow Crown-owned Manitoba Hydro to temporarily reduce power to cryptocurrency operators at peak times in order to ensure stability of the grid. Gildo Torrio has told a legislature committee his company, Gator Mining, will go bankrupt.
If this goes through, our business goes bankrupt. And a lot of family will be impacted. A lot of investors that we have will lose their investment.
A separate firm near Arborg says it will likely go bankrupt too if the changes go ahead. Finance Minister Adrian Salas says the changes are needed because cryptocurrency mines provide low economic value while using a substantial amount of electricity. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham is speaking out in favor of bail reform provisions in Bill C-14.
When we have individuals who time after time are arrested and while they await their trial date are on bail and go out to commit more crime in the community, we have to end that. We just have to end that.
This morning, Gillingham shared data and case examples from the Winnipeg Police Service and Bail Compliance Unit with the Senate Committee on Legal and Constitutional Affairs. He says the reverse onus provisions in the proposed Bail and Sentencing Reform Act are critical, but investments in preventative interventions are a must. The president of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities also spoke about the matter today. South of the border, the U.S. Transportation Safety Board has released a preliminary report on the collision at LaGuardia Airport that claimed the lives of two Air Canada Express pilots. The agency says a crash prevention system didn't generate an audio or visual alert in the control tower, and runway entrance lights, which act as stoplights for crossing traffic, were on until about 3 seconds before the March 22nd tragedy. The system is designed to turn the lights off 2 or 3 seconds before a plane reaches an intersection. One of the firefighters in the truck heard an air traffic controller's frantic warning to stop, but didn't know who it was for. After a second warning, the truck's crew realized they were being told to halt, but the vehicle was already on the runway. It had been cleared to cross just 12 seconds earlier. The plane touched down, and the jet was also cleared to land. The U.S. Commerce Department is looking at new trading sectors to protect as top American officials revive talk of Canadian trade irritants in the run-up to CUSMA negotiations. The Prime Minister responded saying he's ready to go into detailed negotiations or wait if that's what has to happen. CTV's Mike LeCouture on where things stand and where we go from here.
As this Ottawa pub gets ready for a busy night of playoff hockey, the shutout of U.S. spirits has led to a run on Canadian alcohol.
We really get asked more like about Niagara wines versus the Californias, and we get asked about the Canadian options for spirits as well.
The decline in American booze sales is likely why U.S. trade officials continue to bring it up as an irritant.
There may have to be an enforcement action to deal with this issue on wine and spirits in Canada.
When pressed about that today, the Prime Minister pushed back.
You know what's an irritant? 50% tariff on steel, 50% tariff on aluminum, 25% tariff on automobiles, all the tariffs on forest products. Those are more than irritant.
Appearing on CNN, Premier Doug Ford made no apologies for Ontario not stocking U.S. alcohol and Ontarians not vacationing in the U.S.
It's unfortunate that Canadians are boycotting spending tens of billions of dollars in the U.S. This can come to a quick end. Everyone can thrive and prosper.
While criticizing the Carney government for making concessions and not getting any in return, the Conservatives say it's time to hold firm.
I don't think we should squander any more leverage after learning from Mr. Carney's mistakes.
Polyev believes the focus should be on the 2.6 million Canadian jobs affected by the trade war. The Prime Minister agrees, adding negotiation over American alcohol is a two-way street.
We can make progress very quickly on that, with progress in other areas.
Carney added Canada is ready to wait for those talks if that's what has to happen, using an increasingly defiant tone as the CUSMA deadline approaches. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada's Financial Intelligence Agency says criminal organizations appear to be using young students from India to extort people and businesses in South Asian communities across the country. The Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FinTrack, says extortion targeting South Asian communities has evolved to a sustained campaign of coercion. It involves intimidation and coordination across multiple provinces, most notably British Columbia, Alberta, here in Manitoba, and Ontario. The FinTrack analysis suggests multiple crime groups are involved in ongoing extortion activities. They're advising banks and others who handle money to watch for telltale signs of extortion-related activities, such as unusually large cash withdrawals or wire transfers. It's still not known when Iran and the U.S. will resume peace talks. Today, Donald Trump said Iran had, quote, just a matter of days to reach a deal. Meanwhile, the Americans have seized another tanker in the Indian Ocean. This video was provided by U.S. forces. It shows troops boarding the vessel they say was involved in smuggling Iranian oil. Trump has ordered the U.S. Navy to, quote, shoot and kill any Iranian boat putting mines in the Hormuz Strait. The European Union has approved a loan package for Ukraine for more than $100 billion. The funds are intended to help the country meet its economic and military needs for 2 years. The loan was to be announced in February, but Hungary and Slovakia vetoed it. Those two countries were in a dispute with Kyiv after a Russian pipeline was damaged, cutting off its oil supply. That pipeline has since been repaired, so Hungary lifted its veto of the loan. Two trains collided this morning just outside Copenhagen. At least 17 people were injured. The trains hit head-on just north of the Danish capital. Local police say it's still too early to say what caused this crash. Now to the latest on the mega merger rocking Hollywood. Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders have approved the company's takeover by Paramount Skydance. Warner Brothers says shareholders overwhelmingly voted in support of the deal, valued at $111 billion U.S. It didn't come as a surprise, but it did mark an important moment in the fight to take over one of the world's largest media companies. Paramount expects to close the deal in the coming months as it hopes to survive regulatory hurdles on both sides of the Atlantic. Critics, though, have warned about the impacts of increased consolidation of media ownership and have questioned the close ties between Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison and the Trump administration. Some of the best swimmers in the country are diving into a new competition right here in Winnipeg. How many people are competing and what's at stake after the break?
And these double-digit temperatures, well, 20s temperatures that we've enjoyed over the last couple of days, they come to an end for now. Tomorrow will be closer to normal for this time of year. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. But here's a look at the long range. This is what I'm talking about. Back down to single-digit highs. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, 9 degrees up to 12 on Sunday. Now, rain is possible. The question is, will it come through during the day or at night? Rain showers likely to take us into Monday, a high of just 7. Mix of sun and cloud Tuesday, Wednesday, with highs both days of just 8 degrees.
Some of the best swimmers in Western Canada are right here in Winnipeg at Pan Am Pool. This is the Best of the West swimming meet. The brand new competition brings more than 500 of the top swimmers from Western Canada together for the challenge, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Some of the swimmers powering their way through the water could one day be future Canadian Olympians.
For many of these swimmers, they are on the cusp of qualifying for Canadian Olympic trials and for more elite national events. So a lot of these swimmers are that close or have already attained those numbers. We have a large number actually that already qualify for those events.
The Best of the West swimming meet runs all the way through to Sunday at Pan Am Pool. If you'd like to check it out, it is open to the public.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, Colleen Brady is back now with an update on the wild weather taking place in all different parts of the province tonight.
Wild is the way to describe this forecast. In all seriousness, folks, in a decade and a half of doing this, I don't think I've seen a more complex set of systems impacting all of Manitoba and northwestern Ontario all at once. It really is pretty remarkable. So lots to talk about. First of all, I realized when we started the show, I said it was 23 degrees in Winnipeg, and about 2 minutes later, I said it was 19. I also mentioned that there was a cold front pushing through. Look at this. We dropped 4 degrees between 5 and 6 o'clock. It is 19 now. Speaking of 4, it is still just 4 in Brandon, 3 in Melita, and in the north, getting hammered by this low-pressure system. Temperatures, as you might expect, are cooler. But note, though, a lot of these temperatures are close to freezing, and this is part of the complexity of this system. It will produce all manner of precipitation types. But back in the south, I'll go over here, I'll show you. We have this line of thunderstorms that move through places like Lac du Bonnet, now pushing out into parts of northern Ontario. There could be more where that came from. And look at northwestern Ontario a little bit further off to the east. We have more lines of thunderstorms coming in there. So we have parts of southeastern Manitoba, excluding for now the city of Winnipeg, but east into northwestern Ontario, all under a severe thunderstorm watch tonight. So until we get a little later on and into this evening, these thunderstorms that we're seeing here could become severe. We could see others pop up in the meantime that could become severe, and all manner of threats related to severe thunderstorms are possible. Heavy downpours, strong winds. We could even see the potential even for an isolated tornado. You can never rule those out in severe thunderstorms. But it's not just the southeast. Environment Canada also mentioning that closer to the Parkland region, there is the potential for marginally severe thunderstorms to develop there. We have a line of storms now moving into Peguis. Not a severe one, granted, but it's not far from that community. And that's just the south. Now to central and northern Manitoba, we have at least 3 weather warnings, all color-coded orange, still in effect tonight. Let me take you through those, shall we? Now, we had a snowfall warning in effect for the most northern parts of the province. That's now been upgraded to a blizzard warning. So we still have the expectation that 30 to 50 centimeters of snow will fall by Saturday morning. It looks like the heavier amounts will be in the northwest, but the northeast is still going to get an awful lot of snow. Churchill, granted, not under that warning, but snow still headed there. Then you mix in very strong and gusty northeast winds expected to cause blizzard conditions tonight through Friday and into Saturday. Some areas, including Thompson, could even see ice pellets mixing in to those blizzard conditions expected tonight. Further south, we have freezing rain still expected from this line through the Paw, Norway House, and out into Island Lake in those areas. Several millimeters of freezing rain expected to cause ice buildup, which could still cause power outages, which could affect all of northern Manitoba. But last but not least, certainly, is Flin Flon. That area is under a winter storm warning. Why the difference there? Well, all manner of precipitation expected there. Freezing rain, snow, and sizable amounts of both. Winds all expected there. And even those other areas where there'll be freezing rain, that's not all. This will flip over to snow in central regions by tomorrow. So here's a look at all of this. This is pretty remarkable, this system. Here's the rain in the southeast and into northwestern Ontario. Through central regions, the rain. We've got the freezing rain where the temperatures are a little cooler. Then we've got that snow for areas further north. And again, the expectation is blizzard conditions will develop in those most northern regions, including Thompson, Lynn Lake, over further into the northeast as well. Right into Friday morning, this will just continue to spin around across northern parts of the province all throughout the day on Friday. Meanwhile, down here in the south, it will be a much nicer day by comparison, but it will be certainly cooler than the last few days. And this is what I mean. Into Saturday, still that snow coming down. For tonight for Winnipeg, we drop to 0 with a chance of showers, some pretty strong and gusty southwest winds. 2 for the commute tomorrow in the sunshine, increasing clouds throughout the day, on the way to a high of 12 degrees. Across the north tonight, again, blizzard conditions expected in Churchill, Gillam, and Thompson Island Lake. Rain and freezing rain expected there. More snow, heavy falling tomorrow in places like Thompson. Watch for ice pellets in Thompson, too. Blizzard conditions expected tonight in Lynn Lake. You'll see freezing rain and snow throughout the night ahead and through the day tomorrow in areas like Flin Flon and the Paw. Further southwest tonight, down to -2 in Brandon, partly cloudy there. Rain through Dauphin and Swan River tonight, also slipping well below freezing. Likely to see a little bit of potentially some snow coming through those areas, but sunny for Brandon. Winnipeg in the southeast tonight, we could see showers, and again, thunderstorms are possible, particularly those areas outside of Winnipeg to the east could see severe thunderstorms develop. And then tomorrow, increasing clouds for most of us, up to 12 in Winnipeg, 10, 11 degrees outside the city, sunny and 9 for Sprague. It will be windy there too. And in northwestern Ontario, showers or thunderstorms starting tonight in Kenora and Dryden as they end in Fort Frances this evening. And then tomorrow, mixed conditions around the region. It looks like it will be soggiest around Dryden with a high of 8 degrees. Oh, and then there was last night, by the way. We had those thunderstorms that moved through the southeast late last night. Christopher took that shot of the lightning over Mitchell. That's just to the west of Steinbach. And take a look at that storm as it was passing through near Snowflake, Manitoba, near the U.S. border. That photo is from Ian. Send us yours to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. The deadline to file income taxes is just 1 week away. A new survey finds many Canadians are counting on a refund to help with the rising cost of living. Pat Foran explains.
More than ever, many Canadians are counting on a tax refund to help them pay their bills. A survey by TurboTax found 69% of Canadians say they'll be financially impacted if they don't get a tax refund this year, and 40% say they're relying on their tax refund to cover the rising cost of living expenses.
Canadians are increasingly becoming stressed over the state of the Canadian market, the economy, obviously being triggered by a lot of the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing occur right now.
TurboTax says there are more than 400 different deductions and credits that you may be eligible for. The survey found 58% worry they may be missing out on tax credits and deductions. Using a tax software program can help you find them.
This is where a tax software like TurboTax with its AI can do that heavy lifting for you, will take out the guesswork.
UFile is another popular tax software program. Like most that are available, they also have a free version depending on your income.
Most softwares will offer a free version of their software, including ours, as long as they meet certain criteria, which are usually not hard to meet.
You can also go to the CRA's website and use SimpleFile, which is a free service for individuals with a lower income and simple tax situation. Many mistakes happen because people forget to deduct expenses they're eligible for. Comparing this year's tax return to last year's can help find errors and omissions.
Double check your return with your previous year's return. Okay, that's very, very important.
The survey also found 1 in 4 Canadians admit they're tempted to claim something they're not qualified for, which is not recommended. One change happening is the GST-HST credit has been renamed the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit. It will provide quarterly payments starting this summer to more than 12 million Canadians with low to modest incomes. Pat Foran, CTV News.
For some, spring means allergy season, and now a new report has identified the worst Canadian city for allergy sufferers. We'll tell you where it is after the break. HIV and syphilis cases are soaring in Canada, and Indigenous communities here in the prairies are being hardest hit. A new Indigenous-led center is searching for solutions, and it's hosting a two-day conference right here in Winnipeg this week. That center is called the Ayanwa Mizoin Center, which is Ojibwe for carefulness and preparedness. Joining me now to talk more about the work it's doing is Dr. Stuart Skinner with the University of Saskatchewan. Dr. Skinner, good to speak with you.
Good afternoon. Good to speak with you as well.
I understand mobile testing is one of the ways you're trying to tackle these soaring rates. Can you tell us a bit about how it works and how effective it's been?
Yeah. So mobile testing is really exactly kind of what it sounds like. So it is, rather than someone coming into a lab or a health facility to get tested for, in this case, HIV and syphilis, it's taking the lab out to where people are at. So in some cases, that could be going out to a different community-based organizations in the cities or pharmacies, or out into different First Nation communities or community events, and to offer not only just testing for those diseases, but also treatment. And so the whole concept is based around simplicity and access to care, so making access for particularly people who struggle with access to testing and or treatment, making it as easy as possible and to do it at one step.
How far reaching is this? How many people are you finding are testing positive that, maybe were unaware?
Yeah, so in Saskatchewan, so in our province, with this initiative, we tested over 1,700 people. It's kind of the second stage of not the first step of the project, but initially we had about 16%, 12, depending on the site, percent positive for syphilis. Certainly diagnosed a number of people with HIV, and then treating for syphilis, we've treated over 150 people. And for those who test positive for HIV, we offer confirmatory testing and then immediate access to care and treatment as well, no matter where they are. So that could be done then virtually in follow-up or in person.
How important is immediate treatment when we're talking about HIV and syphilis?
It's very important. They're both transmissible infections. So every day or week or longer in delay of treatment means that the infections can be spread. So the sooner we're able to treat, we can not only keep that individual person healthy and prevent kind of the complications of both those infections, but also prevent further transmission and look to stop the different epidemics.
Why do you think Indigenous communities in particular are being hit so hard by this crisis?
It's complicated. There's multifactorial, along with other health indicators, which typically would relate to colonialization, intergenerational trauma, struggles with subsequent addiction, access to care, poverty, houselessness, and again, the other part is access to pharmacies, labs, treatment, and also a general distrust or uncomfortability often with the health system.
Well, Dr. Skinner, I want to thank you for your time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Great to speak with you as well. Thank you very much.
For the first time, Ottawa's Aerobiology Research Laboratory released a report ranking Canadian cities based on the length of allergy season and the number of days with very high pollen concentrations. Out of 35 years of data, Windsor, Ontario came out on top.
Windsor ranked second for weeds, third for grasses, and fourth for trees. So when we combined all of those different data points, it put Windsor at the top as the worst place to live in Canada for pollen allergies.
Hamilton, Barrie, Victoria, Kingston also made the top 5 list, but there was some good news for Atlantic Canadians. The top 5 Canadian cities with the lowest seasonal pollen burden are St. John's, followed by Moncton, Halifax, and Regina. Excessive naps could be a warning sign of underlying health conditions for older adults. This is according to new research published in JAMA Network Open. The study found longer and more frequent naps in adults 56 and older were connected to higher all-cause mortality. Researchers say morning naps, in particular, are a marker of increased mortality risk late in life. While naps can help you recharge, researchers warned excessive daytime napping in old age is linked to a wide range of health issues. U.S. health officials stopped the publication of a study on whether the COVID-19 vaccine was keeping adults from becoming sick enough to have to go to hospital. A U.S. Department of Health spokesperson confirmed the decision to halt publication, citing a dispute about the study's methodology. The research paper was to appear in the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, which is the CDC's flagship publication. One way scientists have studied COVID-19 vaccine effectiveness is by focusing on sick people who were admitted to hospitals or visited emergency rooms. The researchers check whether patients were vaccinated and then calculate the odds of a positive COVID-19 test among vaccinated patients versus those who were unvaccinated. Papers using this methodology had been published in a number of journals.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Climbing to the top of the mountain, what kinds of movies you can see at a new film festival here in Winnipeg.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the Michael Jackson History Show.
Now, when you think of Winnipeg, mountains probably don't come to mind, but a film festival is hoping to bring the spirit of them to the prairies next month.
Notre objectif, c'était de faire le cadeau sans oxygène.
Called the Winnipeg International Mountain Film Festival, it provides attendees with a curated lineup of inspiring adventure films. The stories range from high altitude to expeditions to personal climbing stories. Some of the titles include K2 Mon Amour from France and Girls Climber. The festival kicks off at the Gas Station Arts Centre on May 12th and runs through the 13th. Tickets are available now on the festival's website. Well, as music streaming giant Spotify marks its 20th anniversary, it's out with its list of the most streamed artists of all time. No surprise here, Taylor Swift claimed the top spot, although she faced a growing challenge from second-place artist Bad Bunny. He's traded with Swift for Top Artist of the Year in recent decades. Now, as he prepares for the release of his new album, Iceman, next month, Drake was the third most streamed, followed by fellow Toronto superstar The Weeknd, who had the most streamed song ever on Spotify with Blinding Lights. Ariana Grande rounded out the top 5. The annual Hot Docs Festival kicks off tonight. A combined 115 films from 51 countries will screen to audiences at the Hot Docs Ted Rogers Cinema over the next week and a half. Organizers say the festival is an opportunity to explore different types of films from places or perspectives that may not have previously experienced. Tonight's opening film is Anti-Diva, The Carol Pope Confessions, telling the story of the pioneering 2S LGBTQ+ Canadian rock icon. The Hot Docs Festival runs through May 3rd. Film listings and tickets are available online at hotdocs.ca. Your primetime lineup kicks off at 7 with Next Level Chef. The Rookie is on at 8. Then catch 3 episodes of George and Mandy's First Marriage starting at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
It was so cold that a lot of me said, we're going home.
The Fonz takes on a Winnipeg winter. Why Henry Winkler was in town and what he thought about our city.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
19 degrees out there. Enjoy it while it lasts. It's a little windy. Winds out of the southwest at 54 kilometers an hour with wind gusts all the way up to 68 out at the airport. Highest temperature today was 23. It was at a record, not even close. On this day in 1990, 31.1 degrees here in Winnipeg. That was a warm April. Down to 0 tonight with a chance of showers. Increasing clouds Friday afternoon, just 12. 9 on Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud. Rain is possible either during the day on Sunday or Sunday night showers on Monday.
Thanks, Colleen. Henry Winkler was warned filming a movie in the middle of a Winnipeg winter would be cold. and he says it exceeded expectations. The Hollywood legend was in town in November of 2024 to shoot Normal alongside Better Call Saul actor Bob Odenkirk, and he had fun recounting the memorable experience on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
He invited me to Winnipeg.
That's where you shot the film.
Freezing cold.
Yes, that's what I've heard. I will say, I talked to Bob during the filming of the show in Winnipeg. He said it is as cold as you think.
Yes.
He also had very nice things to say about the people. He said were lovely. The restaurants were great.
The very good restaurant.
Yeah, a little colder than Hollywood temperatures.
Yep.
During production, he got a full taste of the elements when he had to film during a blizzard.
Yeah.
It was ideal for the production team as that movie was set in Minnesota, but not so perfect for the Fonz.
It was so cold that a lot of me said, we're going home.
Interesting.
Yes. Not my feet, because they were in boots.
Got it.
But a lot of me...
So physically you were there, but like anybody acting with you would be like, Henry's not there.
Hard to concentrate.
Yeah, hard to concentrate.
Fonz, I've had the same feeling during the winter at times. Normal, by the way, opened in theaters April 17th and is slated to hit digital streaming on May 19th. No word yet on whether the Fonz is planning a return trip, but we suggest you come in the summer.
He needs a summer shoot.
You just
book
need
a
to
summer movie.
Pack some bug spray for that. We'll explain later.
Yeah.
Come back. Night.